and Iraq to become jihadists. For many, it's difficult to understand the mindset and why this recruitment effort is gaining momentum. Our next guest knows firsthand what it means to live as a terrorist in the Middle East. In fact, he grew up fighting under the green banner of Hamas. Mosab Hassan Yousef is the eldest son of one of the founders of Hamas. Despite his indoctrination, he abandoned its violent ideology and now embraces Christianity. His remarkable story is the focus of the new documentary, The Green Prince, which is out just this month. Welcome. It's great to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Before I get to your incredible story, could you help our audience better understand why you think young people here in the West are attracted to these jihadist networks and are actually willing to travel to the Middle East to take part in these atrocities?
People from everywhere are immigrating to participate with the Islamic State. And by the way, I recommend that we stop saying ISIS. It's the Islamic State. This is the Islamic dream, and this is the manifestation of the Quranic verses on the ground, in the concrete reality. This is an Islamic problem. And there are many Muslims everywhere in the world. They're frustrated and they don't want to face reality. They want to live in the Islamic fantasy. They find it much easier to carry a sword and behead people and be violent. This is a manifestation of the Islamic ideology, and I think this is the time for humanity, for the free world, to face this danger. We've been saying this for many years. We have to act before it's too late, I guess.
But why do you think the social networking offensive has been so successful in convincing some of the young people from this country to believe in that mission?
Well, again, this is their devotion is not for ISIS, it's not for a political party. Their devotion is for Muhammad, for Allah. Those are the actual and real terrorists. Nobody's talking about this. It exists in the Quran, it exists in the Hadith, in the behavior of Muhammad, the founder of the Islamic faith. Now when we see the beheading, the brutality of these radical movements, it takes us back 1400 years for what Muhammad did to the Jews, to the Christians, to the people who did not believe in the Islamic faith. And they are just following the footsteps of their prophet.
Now, your story is an incredible one. You lived as a terrorist for years, starting at the age of 5, learning about unspeakable violence, which also led to your spending time eventually in an Israeli prison, enduring torture there, and then later rejecting Hamas. And you did this about face, and only to later spy for Israel. Why did you turn your back on Hamas?
Well, first of all, I was brought up into that environment. If you were born in that environment as a daughter for a top Hamas leader or a top Islamic leader, what would you be today? I was brought up in that environment, and I had to stand for the truth. I witnessed lots of violence in prison. Hamas was killing Palestinian people, and I started to realize that Israel was not the enemy of the Palestinians. It was the radical ideologies that was in the mosque, that was in the teachings of the Quran. And at some point I had to choose between humanity, between emancipating my soul or staying in the captivity of the radical Islam. So basically I left that lifestyle. I had never been a terrorist, by the way, but I was brought up in that environment. And when I decided to turn my back on my father's belief system, unfortunately he disowned me and he does not talk to me anymore.
I know you've paid a heavy price for that, for turning your back on Hamas. You are now a Christian and you're using your position, as I understand, to save lives on both sides in terms of moving forward and trying to make a difference. Can you tell us more about this?
Yes, well, for many years working together with the Israeli intelligence. I was not serving Israel or the Israeli intelligence. I was inspired by the Christ conscience that is beyond the religious boundaries. I don't follow Christianity or Christians. I follow Christ conscience. And Christ conscience is not a religion. It's a higher conscience. and we basically fought for the sake of humanity. We stopped suicide bombers who were targeting Americans, Israelis, Palestinians, Arabs for many years. And at some point, I realized, or I came to realize, that our fight was against a ghost. Hamas, the Islamic State, Hezbollah, Boko Haram, all these terrorist groups are basically masks for the same face, the Islamic ideology. This is our long-term fight, should be against the free world, should unify against this radical Islamic ideology, and this is my recommendation.
Well, you've led an incredible life, and it's been an incredible journey for you. We thank you very much for joining us and sharing your story with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now I want to know what you're thinking.